I've probably watched that movie more than any other film. It's one of the most audacious films I've ever seen.
He put thunder under a T-Rex and sent a homesick alien home. But when he names the films that formed him, Spielberg sounds 14 again.
I saw it one time and it just pulverized me.
Simply because he inspires me. I'm very sensitive to the way he uses his camera to paint his pictures.
For him, cinema wasn't a career ladder. It was a signal that wouldn't stop ringing. Like any storyteller who lasts, his beginnings live in other people's frames, the shots that raised him, the voices that tuned his ear, the images that proved stories can hold a life. From candlelit hauntings to battle hymns, from small-town porches to starfields without end, his favorites reveal more than any interview. You can polish a resume. You can't counterfeit influence.
Still subconsciously arouse my curiosity about, well, how do they get those moments? How do those shots happen?
These aren't hot takes. They're blueprints. Movies that keep resurfacing in his own work, sometimes as a hush, sometimes as a flare. See the list and the career snaps into focus. Reach, restraint, stubborn hope. Here are Steven Spielberg's 6 favorite films. Stay to the end for the one he calls perfect, the desert epic that first taught him scale. Number 6. Lawrence of Arabia, 1962.
Lawrence of Arabia. I've probably watched that movie more than any other film.
He was a teenager when Lawrence of Arabia knocked the air out of him. The first film I saw that made me want to be a movie maker. A film he would later call perfect. Not just big, clearly big. Lean turns desert into architecture, frames into horizons, silence into a drum. Cuts land like mirages snapping into focus. You don't watch the scale, you enter it. You can feel that grammar echo through Spielberg's work. The patience before violence. The way a wide shot measures a man against a place. The trust in negative space, letting wind, heat, or quiet do the talking before anyone else does. When his camera holds on dunes of faces, on crowds moving like weather, on a world too large to bend, that's the lean inheritance. Awe that isn't noisy, scope that doesn't brag. He never stopped carrying the film. When Columbia unveiled the major restoration in 70mm, he was there, championing it, standing alongside fellow believers to say, in public, that this one still teaches. And the restoration itself mattered. A careful reconstruction that returned the film to its intended sweep and tempo, letting a new generation feel the sand and the light. What stayed with him wasn't just spectacle. It was scale as character. A lesson he kept. Hold the shot until the land speaks, and let silence answer first. The audience will lean in. Number 5. 2001. A Space Odyssey, 1968.
Well, Stanley, means to me the courage of a singular vision.
He never pretended to get 2001. That's why he kept returning. Kubrick didn't guide, he dared. He stripped away chatter, let machines waltz, let space feel not exciting, but terrifyingly empty. Long silences, glacial cuts, images that refuse to explain themselves and, somehow, become the ones you can't forget. Spielberg's world runs warmer, but you can feel this cold star tugging the tide. The hush in Close Encounters of the Third Kind when night turns to signal. The glass and chrome logic of Minority Report, where the future isn't a carnival, it's a system. The lullaby of dread in AI Artificial Intelligence, where wonder and loneliness share the same room. From 2001, he kept one rule. Cinema doesn't have to tell you what to think. It only has to be true to itself. He watched it to feel small, not before the universe, but before what film can do when it trusts the frame. No thesis, no safety rail. Just patience, precision, and the courage to hold on a shot until meaning arrives on its own. Some directors you learn from, others you chase. With 2001, he's still chasing. The nerve to go quiet, the discipline to withhold, and the faith that an unanswered image can land harder than any monologue. Number 4. The Greatest Show on Earth, 1952.
And the film was called The Greatest Show on Earth. And it was the biggest thing that had ever happened to me.
Before Sharks and Normandy, there was a circus and a wreck. The greatest show on Earth is the first film he remembers seeing. The flaming train crash that scared him so badly, he went home and rebuilt it with toy engines and an 8mm camera, again and again, until fear turned into choreography. That's the origin story. Spectacle as imprint, terror converted into craft. DeMille staged chaos like a mathematician, crowds spiraling, steel colliding, danger metered by cuts. You can feel that blueprint echo through Spielberg's set pieces, the shock edits and crowd panic that make jaws throb, the clean geography of the truck chase in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where every risk has a readable line, the runaway momentum of the minecart in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the stampede logic of War of the Worlds. Decades later, he writes the memory back into cinema in The Fabelmans, the boy with the camera mastering the crash that once mastered him. The lasting lesson wasn't trivia, it was method. Motion carries meaning. Danger plays like music when you conduct it. Audiences will forgive scale if you give them a map. Most of all, turn panic into design, and design into feeling. It was the first time a camera didn't just record his fear, it rehearsed it. Number 3. The Searchers, 1956.
I have to look at The Searchers. Have to. Almost every time.
Before he learned lenses, he learned horizons. The Searchers taught him where to place a line of earth, how to let a doorframe become a proscenium, how to stage stillness so the land speaks first. Ford paints with distance and shadow. People cross his canvases like weather. It isn't just myth. There's moth-eaten grief at the center, a hero who's all edges and doubt. That moral dusk stayed. You can feel its grammar in Spielberg's pictures, the silhouette language of Jaws, danger arriving as a shape against light, the sun-bitten vistas of Raiders, figures small against a world that will not bend. In Saving Private Ryan, a horizon that won't promise rescue, only more walking, more cost. He learned to anchor action in geography, to let a cut travel the space instead of shouting over it. This wasn't armchair admiration, it became ritual. Before shooting, he'd return to Ford. Horizon high, horizon low, almost never dead center. Years later, he carved the lesson into The Fabelmans. A young filmmaker meets an old master who reduces composition to a single, unforgettable rule about where the sky should sit. That's the baton pass, craft turning into muscle memory. And the takeaway that endured was simple and strict. A frame is a sentence, and the landscape is the subject. Scale can be quiet. Myth is never clean. Put the horizon where it means something, and the audience will feel the wind before they hear it. Number 2. The Godfather, 1972.
And The Godfather, which for me is the greatest American film ever made.
He walked out of The Godfather thinking, I'll never be that good. Envy can be the cleanest compliment. Coppola and cinematographer Gordon Willis built a world where power whispers, lamplight low, rooms breathing like closed lungs, decisions made in the hush between lines. Shadows don't decorate the frame, they decide it. What stayed with him was restraint, the courage to slow the pulse and let dread earn interest. Negative space as pressure. Silence as evidence. You feel that discipline in Schindler's List, faces held at the edge of light, violence implied before it erupts, morality eroding one quiet step at a time. You feel it again in Munich, where procedure replaces spectacle, phone clicks, stairwells, the awful math of retaliation. The camera becomes a witness, not a trumpet. The Godfather also modeled how to stage power draining away, how the camera can sit still while a soul exits off-screen. No underline necessary, the room will do it. Dialogue shortens, edits breathe. A glance carries more voltage than a gunshot. Scenes don't shout, they thicken. The gravity he kept wasn't Mafia law, it was this: keep the light honest. Let the frame judge no one and accuse everyone. Trust the quiet until it hurts. Rot isn't loud at first. It's polite. The most devastating moments don't arrive with symbols. They land like a closed door. Number 1. It's a Wonderful Life, 1946.
I think that It's a Wonderful Life would be an interesting film to show the worst and the best of us in one story.
Not a marvel of machinery. No gangsters, no aliens. Just a man, a town, a breaking point. Capra doesn't inflate life, he scales it, honestly. Close-ups that feel like confessions, a street that turns into a crossroads, kindness filmed like risk. George Bailey doesn't leap tall buildings, he gets up one more time. That courage bit him hardest. Spielberg kept the blueprint. The backyard becomes a cosmos in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, a kid's handlebars rising like a prayer. In Catch Me If You Can, a smile hides a bruise. Father and son orbit a missing center. The Fabelmans is the quiet admission. Art won't fix a family, but it can hold the pieces long enough to say goodbye. Capra taught the hardest move, find the epic inside the ordinary, then refuse to sneer at it. He learned to aim the camera at the small hinge that turns a life. A clenched jaw, a letter folded twice, the way snow sounds when a decision lands. No sermon, no underline, just a town looking back and saying, "You matter." Sentimental, only if you've never had to choose hope on purpose. From this film, he took a compass. Stories return us to each other. The ending isn't escape, it's home. That's the current under his work. Wonder, yes, but also mercy. Light one window, and somehow the whole street gets brighter. That's the six. Scale, silence, power, and in the end, hope. They didn't just shape his career, they tuned his compass. Which one hit you hardest? Drop your pick in the comments. If you want more deep dives into how directors are built, shot by shot, hit like and subscribe. Next up, another Legends 6 that changed everything.